Hey, everybody. How's it going? Wednesday night here on A Flawed Man of God. My name is Stuart Davis. I'm a deacon at a small church just outside of Richmond, Virginia. I'm not a pastor. I'm not a biblical scholar. I haven't been to seminary. I'm not trying to get you to join my church or donate to any special cause. What I'm here to do is talk about Christianity, talk about Jesus, give some sort of impression for somebody who's looking for some sort of insights into what Christianity is all about. If you're one of those people, welcome to this show. I'm glad you're here. Want you to kind of just get some pick up whatever you can. If you're interested in creating and starting a relationship with Jesus, if you're interested in learning more about Christianity, this is a place that you can get where you can get kind of a brief amateur primer on what Christianity is all about through the eyes of somebody who has been a Christian all their life. That's me, 39 years old, non-denominational Protestant. I don't subscribe to any particular doctrine or denomination. I'm just in the Word every day. Also, if you're here just because you want to hear discussions about Christian topics, Christian takes, be part of a discussion, by all means, this is the place to be. A lot of times this stream runs like a small group, and just because of where this stream is at in its trajectory, we are it's a very small group as far as ship is concerned, but a very active one as well. And I say that kind of kind of at the worst time because nobody's in the chat tonight. It's very quiet. I sent the notification out late, and they're saying that the folks have been notified, and this is not the episode to not be watching on, because this one, a little tired tonight, but this one this one's gonna have me up and at 'em. Greg here, you're gonna enjoy this. You're gonna enjoy this. Um, Shadow ban, maybe. I don't know for what though. Maybe I've been reported by somebody. Hey, look. The only time I've had an episode that got a dislike was Nick's episode. um, that one I think got me. That one thing I had 5 dislikes. It had like 500 likes. Had a ton of likes. It was great, but 500 or 5 dislikes. So we'll see. Well, Greg, yeah, he will. He's back. My nose and his nose. Um, Nick is back. That's awesome. And I wanted to do some housekeeping on this channel as well, as far as um, the production value of things, because I'm very much an amateur when I come at this stream. It's very much a hobby, low impact hobby. Um, it's not something I'm investing a lot of money into. I am investing a fair amount of time, out of my day, but I enjoy it. I enjoy it. Um, One of the things I wanted to go over, I guess I'll wait until a stream uh, when the usual suspects are in here. Um, is the audio coming in pretty well? How do I sound? Are we still getting some lag issues, stuff like that? Just trying to get people's thoughts and impression on that. So we're going to delve into a little bit of political opinion tonight. Not something I try to do here. I have plenty of opinions. Little lag here and there. Yeah, I got to figure out what's going on with that. Um Got to figure out what is going on with that Xfinity. Yeah, I'm hardwired in, Greg. I've got Xfinity's extreme performance package, I think. Let me look at this. Xfinity's pretty much the only internet option available with actual high speed to it. Let's see. I just had the guy in here today looking at the TV issue that we were having. Yeah, okay. Oh, let me get this right. Greg, I don't know if you scared everybody off or not, but who knows? Maybe you're right. Maybe I did get shadow banned. Somebody, Nernaeth was on here last night saying he didn't get the notification. Let's see where I'm at. Services? Internet? Do. This is this is how I go through a month. Last month I used in our household 894 gigabytes of data last month in July. I don't know how much that is, but that's there's a lot of streaming that goes into this house. I don't know if it's YouTube, Greg, because I'm streaming to YouTube. I'm also streaming to Facebook. I'm also streaming to Twitter. However, when I get the sign up or that I've got a signal issue or a lag issue, I'm getting it from StreamYards. So it looks like it's happening as it's going into YouTube. So I think it's either StreamYards or me. Could be. Let's see. Let's see what I'm currently getting. And I'm giving people time to flock in. I don't really want a long stream tonight, so I might just we're sorry. We can't tell you anything. Okay. Run a diagnostics check. Scanning your system. Everything looks good. Okay. Might restart the modem. See if that does anything. Billing. Details. StreamYards needs to update a lot of stuff. It might very well be StreamYards, but that's what I think. Nick might be using something different. I think he mentioned he might be using something different, but I can't remember. Let's see. Digital preferred, limited base, expanded base, extreme pro internet. Extreme pro internet. Ah! So I don't know what extreme pro. What are the different services out there? What different services do they offer? Oh, I don't. I don't know. It's stupid right now. So that's where it is. The lagging stuff didn't bother me at first. Now it's starting to irritate me a little bit. Just a wee bit. Just a wee bit. All right, Greg. Well, since you and me are sitting here, let's talk about Gideon, right? Not Dresden's in the chat. Dresden, you. So not just being Greg. What the heck is going on with my mouse now? Urgh. Satan's on my case, guys. Let's see. Having an issue with the website. Close. Alias is here. Alias, I recognize that name. You've been here before. I just can't remember when. We've had interaction. We've spoken, but I can't remember in what capacity off the top of my head. Like seeing new people come in, people who just maybe just listen and then comment later or don't comment and just listen. I'm always interested to see where people are coming from. All right, let's try this now. Well, you're coming in at a time where some technical difficulties, so I'm thinking, here we go. That's not. For some reason, my mouse is screwing up. All right. And it's just causing me not to be able to scroll. It's sticking me down. Oh, I know what the problem is. All right. Sorry, guys. Being a boomer about all this. Restore window. All right. We're going to be back in action now. All right. So we talked about Gideon last night, right? Gideon, dude, he found himself last night. The Israelites are acting up once again, as they do. I mean, this is where we're at, right? We're in Judges. The Israelites are screwing up during the Exodus. Behave themselves under Joshua for the most part. As soon as Joshua dies, and all of that Joshua's generation basically dies off, they go back to maybe even worse than they were beforehand, because Moses isn't around to kind of try to keep their behavior. So doing all sorts of awful things, evil in the sight of the Lord, and worshiping other gods, making sacrifices and probably all sorts of gnarly things that they're specifically told not to do. So what God does is he's like, okay, well, I've been here looking over you guys. I'm going to take a step back, and maybe I'll do a little support to your enemies. Let you guys see what it's like when I'm not here. Now that you've broken this covenant that I've made with you by not following the rules that I established for you, I'm gonna take away my protection. I'm gonna take away my blessing, and then people see, look, the Israelites got the promised land. It's a very good land that is very desirable to other nations. And so they come in, they say, oh, look how well they're doing. All right, well, let's go in and have some of that. That's how things went back then. Kind of how things go now too. But so they get conquered, or they're being oppressed in some way, shape, or form. And so they cry out. After a few years, God says, okay, all right, I'm going to bring somebody up. He's going to rule over you and kind of bring you back into the fold. And they do. And then as soon as that person dies, they go right back to their old ways. And so we covered Deborah, we've covered Gideon, and we've covered, oh crap, who did I miss in there? No, yeah. Othniel, Ehud, Shamgar, but Deborah's the first big one. And then Gideon right after that. And it's Gideon's such a hidden gem. He hits right after Deborah, which is she's a star just because she's really the first time you get a look at a woman in action, kind of having to take center stage because the man won't. And she does such a great job in her regard that she's really an all-star when you think of Old Testament personalities. Gideon comes right after that. Gideon does a really good job, but he comes from humble origins, right? Comes from very humble origins. We say that he's got servants, but God says, "Look, you're going to be the next guy." He goes, "Look, I'm a nobody. I'm the lowest guy from Manasseh, or my clan is the least of Manasseh. I am the youngest of my clan. I mean, youngest in my family. I'm a nobody. I'm a literal nobody." And God goes, "Well, you're going to be a somebody now." And Gideon's very cautious, very questioning. He's not cautious in the things that he asked God to do. He's pretty ballsy. But once that it finally clicks for him, and it really does. It really just clicks. Man goes on a tear. And and then he does what God wants him to do, and he makes sure he's here to kick ass and chew bubblegum. And so at the end, the Israelites want to give Gideon all the credit. And Gideon goes, no, this isn't because of me. It's because of God. And they said, be our king, rule over us. And he goes, nope. God will rule over you. And then the man becomes prolific at having children. He has 70 sons plus one. He has 70 sons with his wives, and he has one son with a concubine, and his name is Abimelek. And we're going to read about Abimelek tonight because we're going to see how so much good can be done by one man and how much it can unravel after he goes. So Gideon has died, and 71 sons, and we'll pick up with Abimelek. So let me share the screen here. And no need to apologize, Dresden. Dresden, did you get a notification that I was streaming? That would be good to know. That would be good to know. Chapter 9. Abimelek, son of Jerubbaal, who we know as Gideon, went to his mother's brothers in Shechem. Remember, he's not he is not a legitimate son of Gideon because he's coming from a concubine. But he went to his mother's brothers in Shechem and said to them and to all his mother's clan, I ask all the citizens of Shechem, which is better for you, to have all 70 of Jerubbaal's sons rule over you, or just one man? Remember, I am your flesh and blood. So, man's jumping quickly into politics. He's seeing the field, and he wants to get a leg up. So he runs over to Shechem, and he says, look, Gideon is the guy we've been looking up to as our judge, and his sons are right behind him, but there's 70 of them. 71 if you count me. So who do you want? 70 rulers or just one? And look, I'm related to you. So this is why this chapter in particular is such an interesting read given our current political climate and the current political climate of the current year. When the brothers repeated all this to the citizens of Shechem, they were inclined to follow Abimelek, for they said, "He is related to us." They gave him 70 shekels of silver from the temple of Baal Berith, and Abimelek used it to hire reckless scandals who became his followers. I'm going to stop right there for a second. One thing to note that we covered yesterday evening at the very end, when Gideon died, they immediately went back to worshiping Baal and putting up altars and making sacrifices to the false gods and demons. So that's where they're at. And what do we say? What do we see here? Political campaign donations. They gave him 70 shekels of silver. It's a lot. And they gave it to him from the temple of Baal. So you could think of that as blood money. And Abimelek used to hire scoundrels who became his followers. So, all right. We immediately know Abimelek, he's not a good guy. He's a politician, and he runs with and he's surrounding himself with a rough crowd, specifically because it's rough. He went to his father's home in Ophrah, and on one stone murdered his 70 brothers, the sons of Jerubbaal. Blaine's in here. Blaine, I got to talk. We're going to talk about Musashi at the end of this. So this escalates pretty quickly. Abimelek goes, "Give me money and give me your support to be your ruler." And then instead of going, let's have an election, let's have some sort of power play, he goes for 0 to 100 in a moment. He went to his father's home in Ophrah, and on one stone murdered his 70 brothers. So he hired reckless scoundrels. He must have hired a bunch. And how he ended up rounding up all the 70 brothers at once, you think of the Red Wedding, or you think of some sort of trap. It had to have been something like that. But Jotham, the youngest son of Jerubbaal, escaped by hiding. Then all the citizens of Shechem and Beth Millo gathered beside the great tree at the pillar of Shechem to crown Abimelek king. This is where we talk about the evil of Israel. This is where we are as a society in the nation of Israel at this point. The man goes out and murders his brothers. 69 of them. Nice. He murders 69 of them. And what do the people do? They're gathering behind them. And it doesn't say they're doing it out of fear, they're just doing it, right? It's not just because they don't say that he bullied them into it. Maybe he did. But look, he's got a bunch of scoundrels. Well, guess what? The different tribes of Israel can muster a whole lot more than one man. We're talking about tens of thousands of people. So if they really wanted to come after this guy, they could have. When Jotham was told about this, he climbed up on the top of Mount Gerizim and shouted to them, "Listen to me, citizens of Shechem, so that God may listen to you." One day, the trees went out to anoint a king for themselves. They said to the olive tree, "Be our king." But the olive tree answered, "Should I give up my oil, by which both gods and humans are honored, to hold sway over the trees?" Decline. Next, the tree said to the fig tree, "Come and be our king." But the fig tree replied, "Should I give up my fruit, so good and sweet, to hold sway over the trees?" Then the trees said to the vine, "Come and be our king." But the vine answered, should I give up my wine, which cheers both gods and humans, to hold sway over the trees? Finally, all the trees said to the thorn bush, come and be our king. The thorn bush said to the trees, if you really want to anoint me king over you, come and take refuge in my shade. But if not, then let fire come out of the thorn bush and consume the cedars of Lebanon. This is one of my favorite, and I've said this in the comments. This is one of my favorite lines in the Bible to apply to how we go through day-to-day life. But mine comes from a different translation. I'm trying to remember. And the tree said, the trees to the bramble, come and reign over us. And what does the thorn bush reply with? Threats. Thornbush replies with threats and demands. And what this is to me, a microcosm of, is what we see with so many politicians. So many politicians out there who think that they're better than you, think that they know more than you, simply because they chose a profession that has a modicum, has power, simply because they've been able to navigate political waters, and rise to the top of the political class. And let's not deceive ourselves here. We have a political class here in America, and we're not alone in that now. We're not alone in that in history. It just happens. And folks who seek political power and political office, whether it's a monarchy or a democracy or republic or whatever, should always be viewed with distrust. Now, my political leanings are conservative mostly, right? I try to align my politics along with my faith. I try to line it up with my faith. What my faith tells me is right is what my politics is, what dictates what I think is politically correct. However, just because somebody says they're for the same things that I'm for, or that they might stand in the way of things that I am against, does not mean that they have earned my trust. That is not. Anybody can tell you what you want to hear. In some cultures around the world, it is actually part of the culture that the person desires to tell you what you want to hear, as opposed to having an argument. This happens. People will use any avenue for power. Now, some people think that that's true for Donald Trump. It's whatever. I don't trust anybody. I don't trust our current president. I don't think I've trusted any single president I've ever lived under. I just don't trust politicians. That didn't come from reading the Bible. The Bible did make it make sense. I grew up in a political household. My dad was a local politician. And what I've seeing politics in action is the higher people go in office, the more corrupt they are. And the more important that office is to the community, the more corrupt they tend to be. It just happens. And I don't know if, because this is not part of my nature. I don't know if this is something that happens because a person is corrupted beforehand or after they become corrupted by the power. They say that absolute power corrupts. Absolutely. I believe that. We have plenty, and we will cover plenty of examples where that happens in the Old Testament. Some of them are not far off. And that is why. So you were talking about a person who is looking to, yes, Alias, I agree. It's probably a mixture of both. Because there are people that I've known who seemed like good people who ended up seeming to become not so good people. And And I don't think they were always that way, but it seems that they turned out that way once they were given the power, the influence. There's apparently, and I don't think it'll surprise anybody, a lot of shady stuff. But some shady stuff that gives a lot of people, that would shock a lot of people at home. As much as they say they don't trust politicians, they might still be taken aback at hearing all the corruption that it happens on the national scale. And this is not a left versus right issue or a middle of the road issue. This happens all across. There is so much money in DC. I'm from Central Virginia. Northern Virginia is as rich as it is specifically because it is adjacent and often occupied by the people who live and work in DC, people who are elected officials and lobbyists and staffers and all the other entourage that comes along with it. There is a lot of money. And because of that, they pretty much run the state. Even though they're just a very small portion of the state, they have so much influence, and that so much of their ideas are spread throughout the state. It just happens. It just happens. And I think that our local, our statewide politics are the way they are in both parties because of that. I feel like they more closely align with the insider politics because it's just the nature of proximity. We are influenced by it. And I don't think it's for the better, but again, politics is corrupt. I am not a person who values politics. I'm not. The more I get into the word, the less politics impresses me as anything more than a corrupting force. It oftentimes does not bring about good. It just hurts. Political arguments, from a family level all the way up to the national level, hurts people. It hurts us as a culture. It's just, I mean, I think that you can just turn on the news at any point and you can see how politics grab you. And I think that the thorn bush in this instance is a perfect example of how corrupt that is. And I think that and this is coming right off the heels of, yes, Blaine, but I think this is more in line with what happened with Gideon. This is right on the heels of Gideon kicking the Midianites out and murdering their kings. Not murdering, like kicking their ass, but killing their kings. And then because the Midianites were giving so much trouble to the Israelites, they were like, Gideon, rule over us. And Gideon says, no, that's not my place. That is the Lord's place. And it's where he wasn't interested. His son, Abimelek, definitely saw it. But we are getting close to the part where they ask for a king. And God basically, the beautiful thing about Samuel, the book of the first and second Samuel, is how God basically lays it out. You're not going to like what you're asking for. And the trees telling the thorn bush to come and be our king is great foreshadowing of that, but it's a reaction of what the Israelites are starting to look. Every time one of these the judges are the individuals that God raises up to deliver them. The Israelites are not interested in worshiping God because as soon as that judge dies, they go right back to the Israelites have become a broken and corrupt people. They want to worship. They want to put in charge everyone who gives them power without giving any credit to God. So first it was Gideon, and now Abimelek is doing it. But Jotham comes up and says, "Look, you guys," and he gives the analogy of the trees. Look, they went to the olive trees, be our king, and the olive tree goes, "Look, I got a good thing going here. I'm going to stick with what I'm good at. I don't need to come and be your king." Same thing with the fig tree, and same thing with the vine. Productive members of the ecosystem, right? Of the agricultural ecosystem. So because you have people, so you have these beings that are so productive, and they don't want to give up what they have and what they know they're good at and where they found their place in life. The trees look to the thorn bush, who doesn't really have much of a place in the agricultural ecosystem. And I think that if Greg is still in the chat, he's not, but as our local Texan, I think it's mesquite that is I think mesquite is one of those things that is a thorny plant that sucks up the water from the good plants, and it's a terror to farmers out in the Texas area. Mr. Thornton for president. Yeah, exactly. I say that. I got a good buddy whose last name is that. Mr. Thornton for president. That's I mean, look. To me, it's the same. But they find that, and so they go to the thorn bush and they said, "Look, you be our king." And he's like, "Okay, I'll be your yes, absolutely, I should be your king. And if you don't bow down to me, then may you die." Basically, yeah. My dad uses apple. My dad uses apple wood for his smoke for when he's smoking. So, all right. So this is Jotham just laying it down, really, really channeling his inner Gideon, second act Gideon. Have you acted? So he's referring back to the crowd. Have you acted honorably and in good faith by making Abimelek king? Have you been fair to Jerubbaal and his family? Have you treated him as he deserves? Remember that my father fought for you and risked his life to rescue you from the hand of Midian. But today you have revolted against my father's family. You have murdered his 70 sons on a single stone and have made Abimelek, son of his female slave, king over the citizens of Shechem because he is related to you. So have you acted honorably and in good faith towards Jerubbaal and his family today? If you have, may Abimelek be your joy, and may you be his too. But if you have not, let fire come out from Abimelek and consume you. The citizens of Shechem and Beth Millo, let the fire come out from you, the citizens of Shechem and Beth Millo, and consume Abimelek. Dan. Just to close that out, then Jotham fled, escaping to Beer, and he lived there because he was afraid of his brother Abimelek. Probably, I would. If 69, wait, they keep saying 70. Hold on. He had 70 sons of his own. Yeah. So he's killed all my brothers. And it's that many? Hell yeah, I'm gonna be a little afraid too. God hasn't told me I'm gonna deliver anybody from anybody at this point. But here's what she's saying. How on earth are you making this man your king? He literally just killed his family. And this is something I tell my parent or my kids when they're fighting. There's been fighting a lot recently, but you tell them, it's like, no one in your life is going to be more closely related to you than your siblings. You have the same blood, the same mother and father. Nobody is more closely related to you than that. You're going to love your spouse and you're going to love your kids, maybe more than your siblings, but no one will be more closer family to you than them. And what is now, these brothers of his are half brothers. They're all his half brothers, but still. And he murdered them all right there on the stone slab. And what was his punishment? He got exactly what he wanted. He was made king. And so Jotham is sitting here going, look, after all that has happened, that's your decision? Great. Thanks. I'm sure my dad would have been very happy that that his son, who killed all of his other sons, is now roaming free. And not only free, but he's in charge of y'all put him in charge of everything. So guess what? I hope this works out for you. I hope this works out great. I hope and may he be a great thing for you, and may you guys be great for him. Y'all deserve each other. But guess what? If this is exactly what I think it is, I hope you two destroy each other. And he's right. Who wouldn't feel that way? And who wouldn't be right when they say it? Because of something like this that went on. No, it is again, God gets a lot of accusations that he is mean and ill-tempered in the Old Testament. That he is hard on the Israelites. But when you read the stuff that they do, how on earth do you not look at God as anything more than extra patient? And how is God not consistently the same being then as he is now when we do some of the dumbest stuff and reward people, politicians and other people for being corrupt and doing bad things? Is there any reason the Clintons and the Bushes, their families, should still be politically involved? Why? We vote, and it seems like we vote for one because we don't like the other. That is a recipe for the disaster that we're seeing now. I'm not impressed. Politicians don't impress me. I immediately am distrustful. And the people who rub elbows with them, I'm also distrustful of. So let's see what happens next. After Abimelek had governed Israel 3 years, God stirred up animosity between Abimelek and the citizens of Shechem, so that they acted treacherously against Abimelek. God did this in order that the crime against Jerubbaal's 70 sons, the shedding of their blood, might be avenged on their brother Abimelek and the citizens of Shechem, who had helped him murder his brothers. So it really seems like everybody's complicit. In opposition to him, these citizens of Shechem set men on the hilltops to ambush and rob everyone who passed by. And this was reported to Abimelek. Shechem apparently has devolved into absolute anarchy. It is the Somalia of Israel right now. It is anarchy incarnate. Now, Gaal, son of Ebed, moved with his clan into Shechem and its citizens to put their confidence in him. After they had gone out into the fields and gathered the grapes and trodden them, he held a festival in the temple of their God. Lowercase God in this, guys. If you're not reading along, or if the font's too small, lowercase g on God, their God. While they were eating and drinking, they cursed Abimelek. Then Gaal, son of Ebed, said, "Who is Abimelek, and why should we Shechemites be subject to him? Isn't he Jerubbaal's sons? And isn't Zebul his deputy? Serve the family of Hamor, Shechem's father. Why should we serve Abimelek? If only this people were under my command, then I would get rid of him. I would say to Abimelek, call out your whole army. Gaal doesn't sound like he's a great guy either. Sounds like he's kind of a jerk. Sounds like he's kind of a bad guy. But why else do you think he moved into Shechem? Seemed like it was a good place to set up shop. When Zebul, the governor of the city, heard what Gaal of Ebed said, he was very angry. Undercover, he sent messengers to Abimelek saying, Gaal, son of Ebed, and his clan have come to Shechem and are stirring up the city against you. Well, then, during the night, you and your men should come and lie in wait in the fields. In the morning at sunrise, advance against the city. When Gaal and his men come out against you, seize the opportunity to attack them. So Abimelek and all of his troops, all of his cronies, set out by night and took up concealed positions near Shechem in 4 companies. Now Gaal, son of Ebed, had gone out and was standing at the entrance of the city gate just as Abimelek and his troops came out from their hiding place. When Gaal saw them, he said to Zebul, look, the people are coming down from the tops of the mountains. And Zebul replied, you mistake the shadows of the mountains for men. But Gaal spoke up again, look, people are coming down from the central hill, and a company is coming from the direction of the diviner's tree. Then Zebul said to him, where's your big talk now? You who said, who is Abimelek, that we should be subject to him? Aren't these the men you ridiculed? Go out and fight them. So Gaal led out the citizens of Shechem and fought Abimelek. Abimelek chased him all the way to the entrance of the gate, and many were killed as they fled. Then Abimelek stayed in Aramah, and Zebul drove Gaal and his clan out of Shechem. Bar fight. There's no good guys here. The next day, the people of Shechem went out into the fields, and this was reported to Abimelek. So he took his men, divided them into 3 companies, and set an ambush in the fields. When he saw the people coming out of the city, he rose to attack them. Abimelek and the companies with him rushed forward to a position at the entrance of the city gate. Then 2 companies attacked those fields and struck them down. All that day, Abimelek pressed his attack against the city until he had captured it and killed its people. Then he destroyed the city and scattered salt over it. Ooh! Oh, giving a little Punic Wars in here. And all this he's doing against a city he is king of. Whew. On hearing this, the citizens in the tower of Shechem went into the stronghold of the temple of El-Berith. These all these false gods, it's killing me. When Abimelek heard that they had assembled there, he and all his men went up Mount Zalmon. He took an axe and cut off some branches, which he lifted to his shoulders. He ordered the men with him, quick, do what you have seen me do. So all the men cut branches and followed Abimelek. They piled them against the stronghold and set it on fire with the people still inside. All right, we're going from the Punic Wars all the way to the Patriot. We're doing all sorts of stuff tonight. So all the people in the Tower of Shechem, about 1,000 men and women, also died. Damn it. That's a third of 9/11 right there. Whee. Next, Abimelek went to Thebes, and besieged it and captured it. Inside the city, however, was a strong tower, to which all the men and women, all the people of the city had fled. They had locked themselves in and climbed up the tower on the tower roof. Abimelek went to the tower and attacked it, but as he approached the entrance to the tower to set it on fire, a woman dropped an upper millstone on his head and cracked his skull. This is for Deborah! You're lucky it wasn't a 10 spike. Hurriedly, he called to his armor bearer, draw your sword and kill me so that they can't say a woman killed him. I'm dying. Quick, kill me instead. So his servant ran him through, and he died. When the Israelites saw that Abimelek was dead, they went home. Thus God repaid the wickedness that Abimelek had done to his father by murdering his 70 brothers. God also made the people of Shechem pay for all their wickedness. The curse of Jotham, son of Jerubbaal, came on them. Good. Good. This is what happens. What you're seeing in here is evil throughout. And Jotham, the voice of reason coming in, and he's also crying out for justice. How can on earth can you do such a thing to support a person who has done the evil that they have? People want to see the best in the people that they want to support because they want their political ideology to be the good guys. And that means that the people who advance that ideology on a political scene have to be seen as good people. And so that means ignoring all the bad things that they did, or excusing them, or coming or rationalizing them. And they're doing all sorts of mental gymnastics instead of saying, the guy's an ass. This politician's an ass. And they're corrupt. And they don't have my best interests at heart. They are using me for their best interests. But I want to get what I got to get done. And unfortunately, that's just the nature of the world we live in. If you ask me, the establishment of Israel with the covenant of God, it's my favorite type of government. You have a covenant with God, but for the most part, you live in peace with each other. And if you have quarrel with another person, or if there is a question of things, you have judges, you have elders to take the issue to, and they try to rule or to make a ruling best in line with what God wants, in up to the point of actually they have the ability to go to God and ask for clarification on something. But even if we didn't have that ability, what he establishes is good. And what do? We screw it up. And we're going to screw it up more. The Israelites are going to screw it up more. We have done our good job screwing things up. I will say, all things considered, Constitution's not a bad document. Well, what have we done? We've ignored it. We've corrupted it. We've done all sorts of things because we can't help but compromise ourselves and our values and our integrity and our principles in the name of some sort of political game. So that's Judges tonight. Blaine, are you still in the chat? Talk about Musashi. I'm going to talk about Musashi a bit before I end the stream. I'm about an eighth of a way through Musashi. Now, mind you, I'm reading the translation. I don't understand. I don't speak or read in Japanese. But it reads like anime. It reads like anime. Musashi. So Musashi is the perhaps embellished, I guess. That's what I think. Somewhat embellished biography of Miyamoto Musashi, one of the great swordsmen of feudal Japan. And it's supposed the way described it at the beginning of the book. It is Japan's version of Gone with the Wind, literary equivalent of Gone with the Wind. And it's good. It's a good book so far. And I don't know why I was expecting something different because, anime is dialogue in the Japanese culture, right? But man, everything, I was just like, the buddy of dude, yeah, dude was legit. I haven't read, and I think you were talking about um the what is it, the book of the 5 rings or something like that. So right now I'm at the part where he's going to the different locations, and he's at one of the schools, and it's like supposed to be the best school, and he's just killing. He's just beating everybody up, and they're all mad about it. And so there, the guy who I first heard about the book from, he's very much he was very much like, I'm not into anime. I think anime is dumb. I don't know why anybody understands it, blah blah, or anybody is interested in it. And he loved this book, and I'm reading it, and I'm like, dude, you like this book because it's anime. It's basically literary anime. It's hilarious. It's hilarious because it's like there are interactions in there that are, and I'm sure that it was taken from Musashi, but when you read, like when you watch Rurouni Kenshin, um like there's interactions in Musashi that immediately make me think of Rurouni Kenshin. Dresden coming in, anime is for degents. I'm not gonna argue with you. I feel like I feel like a bad person. Sasaki Kojiro yet? I don't think they've interacted with each other yet, but I think that, like, so they were at the part where he wanted to face Sasaki, but Sasaki's handlers didn't think that Sasaki could handle the fight, so they basically demurred on that, and then now they're like talking smack now that he's gone, and he's like, okay, well, I'm coming back, and that's where they're at. That's where they're at. This is great. I love this book, by the way. I love this book. It's very fun. It's a very fun read. It's a very fun read. So, I'm definitely into that. But I got to catch up. I got to catch up on Nick's stream, so that because he decided he was gonna stream for 6 hours last night, and that's ridiculous. Something to realize too is Musashi was almost 6 feet tall in ancient Japan. He was dominant just from birth. It's a free country, so do what you want, but prepare to get mocked. Yeah, we could all get mocked for our nerdery and degenerate fans. Alias, thank you, Flawed Man, for an educational and enjoyable stream tonight. Lord willing, you can do another tomorrow, and I can listen and watch also. God bless and take care. Hey, Alias, glad to have you on. Glad to have you comment on here. Look, and I try to encourage any of the folks on here. If you want to listen, if you just like to listen and you just like to get something out of that, that's great. But any impressions that you got, that you have, that you ever feel like sharing, please do. Like I said, I kind of run this, where we're at with this program is, it's kind of like a small group, and I think that's I think that's pretty good. I think that's pretty cool. I get a lot out of it, and folks like you, folks like Blaine, Dresden, Greg, here. Sometimes say my good nights to everybody while we're talking about things. It's great for me, just as much as it is. I hope I'm doing good for other people. So I'm glad you enjoyed it. Thank you for passing that along, and God bless as well. So, and I am streaming tomorrow. Oh, I guess program announcement. I've got kids that are staying over the night, so I'm gonna be busy on Friday. We're not gonna have a stream on Friday. We're not streaming on Friday. It's a good palate cleanse before I start talking about the top waifu of the season tonight. Oh man. Oh man, Blaine, crack me up. And look, in Dresden, here's the thing. We're talking about Musashi. Musashi is actually not anime. It is actually a historical account put into a story narrative. And maybe this might be one of those things where truth is better than fiction, and it probably is in this case, of a pretty cool time in Japan's history. It's very similar to medieval Europe with the knights errant and stuff like that. Just a different culture and a different location. The only thing they just throw around all that Buddha worship. And, yeah. But other than that, it's pretty cool. And Blaine says something to realize too is Musashi was almost 6 feet tall in ancient Japan. He was dominant just from birth. That dude is a monster. What I do find odd is just how many people he's just walking around killing, and it's somewhat nonchalant about it at the beginning. So, but I think that goes into what what's his face says. What's his face says the Buddhist monk tells him, it's like, you're just an animal. You're more animal than man now at this point. So, and it's like the Old West, yeah, which is why where we used to enjoy the old Westerns as a culture, they used to in Japan they used to have samurai shows that were kind of like our Old West shows, very similar. All right, folks. Well, like I said, I need some unwind time and just want to settle down. But I'm glad to have you all here. I was worried. I was like, this is a stream where we're covering something I really love and I really want to talk about, and nobody was going to be here. But y'all came, and that's good. Hopefully I'm not being shadow banned like Greg is saying I might be. But if I am, I am. Y'all still show up. Streaming tomorrow. Plan is to stream tomorrow. There will not be a stream out on Friday. Everybody, have a good night and God bless. P.S. I could talk all night. Blaine saying I could talk all night about Akira Kurosawa 7 Samurai Train turning into the Magnificent 7. I would watch it. I was just happy Nico is in first. Like Nico is a touchstone of normalcy. Nico being first is a touchstone of normalcy. Hopefully, Nico, if you're watching this or if watching this on the replay, have a good evening. Same with the rest of you guys. Good night. God bless.